Calculator time. We haven't done this yet, have we? See, I did this last night. I'm going to get confused what class I'm in, so y'all help me along here. Calculator time. We're going to talk about time value of money. That's our basic topic. I want you to be somewhat functional with the calculator. Yes, is that a BA too? Mm-hmm. And I will be speaking with the other faculty about allowing phone apps in the future, okay?
I have a question.
Sure.
I think I have a BA3.
I don't know that, I didn't know they made a BA3, but if it says BA, it's a business analyst, and that's probably a good thing, okay? All of what I'm going to show you right now is available on the videos that are listed in the VRSQ for this course. So I'm going to do it again here in class, and we're going to practice it in class, but you can go back and watch those videos as well and just kind of refresh it. So the issue is this. If I gave you a choice of $500 today or $500 at the end of the year, which would you rather have?
Today.
Other than the fact you intend to go out and have a party, why?
It's worth more now than it's going to be at the end of the year.
Why?
Because if I put it in my savings account.
There's virtually no inflation.
Because Obama's killing the country.
Inflation just went up.
Don't start me on that or I'll bury your ass, okay? I'm sorry?
Inflation just went up a little bit.
It's minuscule. It's under 2%.
It is small. I was just throwing out the only thing that makes sense too.
No, think about it. If I gave you $500 today, what could you do with it between now and the end of this year? You could invest it. And so if you don't take the $500 until end of December, you gave up that potential interest you could have earned. So we say that money's worth more now than it is in the future. But if I gave you the choice of $500 today, what would be the equivalent value of $500 a year from now, let's say? Would depend on what interest rate you could earn on it, okay?
Or where you invest it.
Well, which is the interest rate you would earn on it, yeah. Okay? So, when we do this, we're going to have two categories of calculations. The first one is called lump sum. That's the one we'll play with first. If I give you $500 today, and you can invest it making 9%, how much will you have in a year?
How's the interest calculated?
9% of $500 for 1 year.
That's not compounded or whatever.
In this case, it's not. That's for 1 year. I'm going to complicate it and compound it in a minute. Think about it. Here's what we got. And these are the buttons on your calculator. Present value is how much you got today. IY is your interest rate per year. N is how many years it's going to grow. And future value is what it's going to be worth. Those are the four buttons we play with when we play with the time value of money.
JY is what?
IY.
Oh, that's an I.
Yeah, that's an I. Interest per year. In the simple example I gave you, you have $500 now, present value. The interest rate was going to be 9%. It was for 1 year. And I'm going to throw that little apostrophe up there. That means calculate the future value.
545.
545. Now, how do you do that with a calculator? This is important. When you turn the calculator on, the first thing you look for up in the upper left-hand column is a little button that says second. It's a little yellow button that says second above it. And then there's a row of buttons down here, and the one over on the far right says FV, future value, and above it there are the letters CLR, TVM. Before every calculation, you go second, clear TVM, and then you begin to put your numbers in. Because if you don't, these things will have leftover numbers in them from your last calculation that'll screw you up. So the first thing we do is hit second, clear TVM. And then we put the numbers in, right? PV, we just say, put in 500 and press the PV button. Put in 9 and press the IY button. put in 1 and press the N button. And then what?
Enter. You hit PV, then 500?
No, you hit 500, then PV.
IV, then 900.
And then, well, let's get all the numbers in first. Everybody got the 500 in, and the 9 and the 1, right? Then, above this second button is a button that says CPT. That means compute. Compute, and then press FV, future value.
You choose the type.
Compute.
I think it's supposed to
After you enter 1, you hit compute or FV.
So I just,
After you put in the 1, you go compute future value.
yeah, press FE.
FV.
Okay?
I just don't understand why it's doing
I was having technical difficulties.
Does everybody have an answer of 545?
Yeah, mine's saying negative.
Yeah.
You bet it is.
Okay.
Mine too.
Your answer is going to say a negative 545. That's my next point.
Yeah.
Every time you do this, either the present value or the future value, doesn't matter which one of the others got to be a negative. If you put one in as a positive, the other one will show up as a negative. Disregard the negative sign. That's just the way the programmers set it up. The old TI calculators didn't do that. I'm sure some college-educated genius thought it was a good idea.
So your actual interest was 45.
So your interest earned is $45.
So
Well, what you would have in the bank is $545. How are we doing so far?
Wasn't right.
Following
Mine was
you.
right. That's the paper.
Got it.
Okay? Let's change it a little bit. You can leave your numbers in there for a minute.
Where's that fee?
Say again?
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
What would this be worth if you left it in the bank for 19 years? Since these other numbers aren't changing, you can leave them there.
Oh, you
Just
bought
put
it on
19 in and compute future value.
25, 70, 83,
25.7, where's the decimal point in there?
$2,570.83.
Good. That sounds pretty correct.
So when you're calculating lump sum,
Yeah.
it's always going to be in that order?
Nope, I'm gonna mix you up here in a minute.
Oh,
It'll be too easy.
what a pattern.
Yeah. Okay, how are we doing? Everybody got the 2580?
Hang on a
Or
minute.
2570, 83?
And it's 19 for you.
Yeah.
25, 70, 83.
2570, 83? Negative?
Negative.
Yeah, big deal.
70, 83.
Okay so far?
This calculator's telling me I'm losing money.
Yeah. That's what those engineering geniuses did to you.
Damn.
Okay, we okay so far? Everybody clear with me?
Yes, sir.
Anybody got any concerns?
What was the answer for that?
2570, 83?
Oh, we're brilliant, we're brilliant.
You're brilliant.
Okay, let's do a new problem. And let's say that I've got $1,000 today, and I can earn 6% interest for 20 years. How much will I have?
Give us a second.
What's the first thing you gotta do?
Second, FB.
Second TBM. Second means it's gonna do the words above the button. That's a
Oh.
secondary function, but yeah. Second TBM, clear
Put in
TBM.
1,000.
And then you're gonna put your numbers in, right?
I did it.
It's 3,207.14 cents.
3207
And 14 cents.
for 20 years?
I don't know what.
Okay.
Let me double check.
How many years, 20 years?
Anybody else confirm that number?
20,
I ain't got that number.
You did? Okay.
20,
So I got 5,604. 41.
I got 3,200.
But it's still have that.
That's what I got.
3207.
It's 6%.
6.
Hunter, did you clear the memory register?
No, I was still using 9%. I got 3,207.14.
Good.
Yeah, we did that.
Hunter was
Everybody
behind
good?
the 8 ball as usual.
Everybody good? I'm gonna ask you a different question. Look at this one.
Careful with that.
suppose I had $1,000, and suppose I was gonna leave it in the bank for 9 years, and at the end of that time I need $3,000, what interest rate would I have to earn? What would have to be my annual return on investment compounded? How are you gonna put that, what's the first thing you're gonna do? Before you start mashing buttons, what's the first thing you're gonna do?
Second year clear TV.
Clear the memory registers, second clear TVM.
What rate of interest are you using?
You're solving for the rate of interest. And I'm setting you guys up here.
I'm getting set up
First person to get error 5 wins a prize. Got it?
wrong.
Error 5, yeah. So one of you will get error 5. I'm betting.
Error or something.
I'm probably the student.
Anybody, did you put these numbers in? And then do what? Hit compute IY, right?
You need 12.98%.
12.98?
98%.
We'll see. Anybody get error 5 yet?
Totally got it.
I got a winner, bingo! Why do you get error 5? Because you put both these in as a positive.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
Make one of them a negative. Ask me how I know about error 5. We're good friends.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the previous one before this one again?
In my mind, I can, perhaps. Why?
He's not on.
It was
Getting a little bit low.
1,000 at 6% for 20 years.
let's see.
Okay.
Annually, rate 12.98. Thank you.
So in order to get the interest, we had to do
We just
PV or,
No. You have to do either this one or this one as a negative number.
so PV or FV as a negative.
Yeah. If I put that as a negative, everything will be fine. Tell me what interest rate you got.
12.98.
12.98, right on, bro.
I just have to figure out how to do the negatives on easier on this.
That's what
Good. On the previous problem, you have an issue?
No, just what was the answer to it? We'll go back later on.
Okay, what was the answer on the previous problem?
$3,207.14.
Okay, thank you.
What is-
How are we doing so far?
Right there.
Okay? I'm gonna throw you another curveball when you're ready. Are you ready?
No, not yet.
Please not the slider.
Okay, this might be a stupid question. I don't know how to do the negative.
Okay, good point. Look down on the bottom where it says plus or minus. Put your number, say 1,000, and then hit that button,
Oh, okay,
and then push present value.
okay.
Good, good question. I forgot to say that. All right, next curveball, you ready? This assumes that when you put $1,000 in the bank, once at the end of every year, they calculate your interest. They compound the interest annually. What if we said, instead, and we'll make up a new problem altogether, what if we had a problem where they compound interest semi-annually? Semi-annual compounding. And we'll give it some different numbers just for grins. You've got $6,000. You can invest it at 4%, semi-annual compounding. You're going to leave it in there for 12 years. What will it be worth? What are you going to have to do different?
PV is 6,000.
PV 6,000.
Huh.
You better be careful about that interest rate. How are you going to put it in?
Double it.
Huh?
0.05. for?
No, you get 4% per year,
Oh,
but they're gonna compound it how often? Every
Twice a
6
year.
months.
I got,
So every 6 months, your interest rate's gonna be 2%,
Oh,
okay?
I got
Okay.
9,650 and
Well,
62
but
cents.
hang on, we're not there yet. Give me a minute. What do you gotta do with the interest rate? If it's compounded twice a year, you gotta divide it by 2. And how many times will it be compounded?
double that one.
Twice a year for 12 years. Times 2. Now let me give you a quick hint, if you're still with me. When you're doing this with the interest rate, this one's nice and round. But what if it said 4 3/8% compounded monthly? That would be 4.375 divided by 12. So when you do this calculation, these are literally the buttons. 4 divided by 2 equals, and whatever is displayed on your calculator, then press IY. Because that'll carry the decimal points out for you. Okay, Brian, give me the answer again.
My answer was 9,650 and 62 cents.
96.50 and how many?
62 cents.
52?
62.
62.
But my calculator kept at 4% because we had a semi-annual.
But if it's semi-annual, do you have some other button to show it's semi-annual?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Did anybody do it this way and get an answer? Is this the answer you got? Good deal.
Oh, okay, so it was right still.
Okay,
I like this calculator.
It hurts.
how we doing?
Wait, 'cause I knew.
That does kind of make it easier if you can pick whether it's semi-annual or monthly or all that.
Y'all good with it?
Trying.
Okay.
So that's, the end's gonna be six.
Kept the interest rate the same. and it's
End's gonna be
For this purpose.
24.
24.
12 times 2.
That's true.
No,
But you're gonna double that one and get
This
the other
could
one
be
right now.
yearly, semi-yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. Sweet.
I didn't get that.
it's all right, they'll come out with another.
You didn't get that?
24 hours.
Go back and clear your registers.
Quick work.
Okay, so second FV.
Okay.
6,000
PV.
PV. And then you said
4
4
divided by
2
2 equals
equal. I did that. IV,
IY.
IY.
Okay.
And then
12 times 2
times 2
Equals?
equal.
N.
Oh shoot, I ain't do N. N, and then
Compute?
CPTFY. Okay, now I got it.
All right, good deal. Good deal. Okay so far? So what we can do is we can complicate your life by making you compound it more often than once a year. But the adjustment is very minor. It's major if you don't do it, you get it wrong. But conceptually, it's pretty simple.
So theoretically, you could say compounded monthly, and then that 4% would be divided by 12.
Perfect. And the 12 would be
Times 12.
times 12. Perfect. Exactly right. Now the other thing is this. I can sit down at home and have a couple of martinis, and then I can give you any 3 of these and make you calculate the 4th one. And you got to be ready to do that. And what's the big thing to remember? Error 5. One of these 2 has to be a negative. Other than that, it's push the buttons. Nothing to it. Okay so far?
Okay, so the only time you say you can give us any 3 of those.
Yep.
But which one? So if it's PV, IY, and FY, then we have to do a negative and a positive.
Mhm.
Okay.
Let me give you this, just for fun. This is always fun, right?
I'm waiting to get this.
What is $20,000 that you're going to receive in 10 years worth today?
$20,000 we're gonna receive in 10
You're going to get $20,000 in 10 years. What's it worth today?
What's the interest rate?
Is there
Pardon?
any reg-
What's the interest rate?
Ha, I was waiting for somebody to ask me. You can't answer that until I tell you what is the appropriate, here's my term, the appropriate discount rate. Okay? I'm gonna tell you the discount rate on this is 5%.
Annually?
Let's assume annual compounding.
You're a lot more generous than anybody else in this town.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
I remember the good old days when the prime rate went to 21%.
That's not a bad number.
Was it fixed?
No, that was,
70s, 80s?
you mean what year?
No, was the prime rate fixed?
No, that was the common prime rate for the biggest banks loaning their best customers, 21%. People like me went into the bank, they wanted 28 to 35%. Mortgages were going for 18%, 16%. This was about 1979, 80. At the end of Jimmy Carter coming into Ronald Reagan, exactly.
10 years.
Anybody got me an answer? How did you set it up? I
Okay, so
put
what
in
we're looking
future
for,
value
we're
is
looking for the
negative
PV.
20,000, right? I put in N is 10. I put in IY is 5, and I said compute present value.
It was $12,278.27.
That is the present value of that $20,000 when you are going to get it 10 years from now. Let me tell you that a different way. If I wanted to have $20,000 in 10 years and I could earn 5%, that's how much I would need today to invest. But once again, I give you any three, you give me the fourth one. Now, if you were worried about this problem and this kind of work, what would you do to start getting ready as a manager? You're managing yourself in this course. You have to be able to do all these calculations in 2 weeks.
Practice?
Practice.
How will you practice? What is going to be your methodology? Give me some details.
Come up with some numbers.
Just come up with the numbers. How do you know you're going to get the right answer?
You do
Ask
them
friends
backwards.
about their loans.
I'm getting you there. What if you got on the
Internet.
discussion forum for this class and said, I need 4 people who will work with me, and we will work together to do this, and we will each make up 3 problems and send them to everybody, and then we'll all compare answers in 4 days and see if we all get consistent answers, and if not, then we'll start figuring out why not. And if we can't figure it out, we'll call Strickland. That's management. How are you going to manage this task? All right. Come on in, Ed. No problem. Are we ready to keep going?
So
That-
the what is question, when you say what is the interest or what is, that's always the unknown value.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got to be able to read the question and pull out the known values.
Right.
Very well examined. That's exactly the task. Mashing the buttons isn't so bad. Figuring out what the devil strictly's asking, that's sometimes tricky.
The word problems, no
Right,
fair.
the word problem is the trickiest
I
part.
thought I was done with them.
All right, we're going to do the second half of these kind of calculations now, and they're called annuities.
Alright. Let's see what this is.
Annuities just means payments, okay? So instead of having just $500 today and what's it worth in a few years, I'm gonna be real generous with you. I'm gonna say, look here. What if I agree to give you $500 a year for the next 15 years? How much will you have then? So it's not a lump sum 500, it's a payment every year of 500. Okay? I'm going to give you $500 a year for 15 years. What will it be worth then?
7,500. Oh wait, what's
Plus
the
the
percent?
500 that we
Thank you. What interest rate is applicable? What is the discount rate to be applied? At a rate of 5 3/8%.
Oh crap.
When I hear that, oh crap, I win. What is 3/8 in decimal form?
0.375.
How did you figure that out?
Memorized?
Oh, you did not.
Seriously?
Hell no. I went right over to my other calculator, took care of that.
That's fine.
Now we're moving on
This
to back
is
to the business calculator.
.05375, and you will put it into the calculator
Right,
as
right here in the
5.375.
Alright.
That's what you will use.
It
I want you to be ready for that.
$11,098.86.
You're rushing to the end here. Let's go through the gory details. How do I set this up?
The PV will be 500.
Ain't no PV. PV's a lump sum.
PV.
Look at your other buttons.
Okay.
Look at your other buttons. What would that be if it's going to be every year?
Payment, PMT.
It's a PMT or a payment.
Okay.
Still
PMC.
not getting that.
PMT is 500. That means $500 every time. N is 15. IY is 5.375. And then I want to calculate what?
CPT.
Future
FY.
value.
I want to calculate future value. Tell me your number, Brian.
$11,098.86.
That's what I got.
Positive or negative?
Doesn't run out.
Negative.
You will come up with a negative number on this calculator if you put the first one in as positive, just like before. Either the payment or the future value, one or the other is going to be a negative, has got to be a negative. After that, it's not real difficult. We doing okay?
No.
You get it?
Alright, here's an important question that's before the test.
Yeah.
Are we don't have to put the negative, or that doesn't really matter for the answer?
I want you to disregard the negative and put it as a positive because you know the negative doesn't count. If you put it as a negative, it's wrong.
As Annie, though.
If you start telling me you're getting this kind of payments and getting negative answers, you're wrong.
I'm just making sure for this.
In that case, I want to borrow money for you and you tell me how much I owe you.
Put it.
Uh-huh.
It's okay.
Are we okay with 11,098? Everybody?
Although we're trying to clear her.
How come I can't clear my value?
I give up.
You give up?
I give up. I can't tell why you can't clear your values. Maybe you just haven't got a clean conscience. I don't know.
Okay, so when it's annuities,
Annuities,
we use PTM,
PMT, payment.
PMT.
Yeah.
And then when we're doing lump sum,
You got present values. Can I erase the board yet? Okay. Let's see how else this could work. That's how much I would have at the end of the 15 years, remember? Listen to me. We just calculated how much I would have at the end of the 15 years. What if I asked you instead, looking at that stream of payments you're going to be receiving for 15 years, what's it worth today? What's the present value of that future stream of payments? How would you set it up?
we using the same numbers?
Yep. Your payment's still $500 a year. It's still for 15 years. It's still at the same interest rate.
You hit the present value button. One.
And what was my question?
What is it worth?
What is it worth today?
That was for the first one, right?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
Second was what'll it be worth at the end?
Okay.
If you just let it sit there and keep putting it in the bank and then earn interest. Now I'm asking, what will it be worth today? What's the present value of that stream of payments? Calculate the present value. Good answer.
5,060 and 75 cents.
5,015?
60.
60. And
75 cents.
75?
Yes.
Okay, how we got
Negative,
that?
by the way.
See you next term, by the way.
So instead of pushing FV, we'll press PV.
And you have to read the question carefully and see what's being asked for.
Because you're going to try to be real tricky.
Well, I get that way after a martini or two. I can't help it. The devil made me do it.
Now, did y'all have to go all the way out and do it again, or did y'all just
I just,
You,
push the PV button?
did you just go and push PV,
I just.
or did you put all the numbers back in?
I just did PV.
Okay.
Push PV button.
The safest way is always to put them back in.
Calculate,
Yeah, I
calculate
just get in the
PV.
habit of clearing them all out and doing them all again.
it's probably a lot better way to double check yourself.
Yeah, if you don't clear the data out and you do it 6 times in a row and get the same answer, it's still wrong.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready for the big problem now. You ready? We're going to combine 2 ways of thinking here, okay? Billy Bob
Really bad.
is 24 years old. He plans to retire at the age of 52.
Good boy, Billy Bob.
Good luck, buddy. He thinks he can earn on his money maybe 9%.
9%?
He's sure he's going to live till he's 92. I'm telling you, he's smoking that stuff, okay? He wants to know, starting today at age 24, how big a monthly payment does he need to put into his retirement program to be able to retire, and at that retirement age, pull out $3,000 a month to live on. Now, this is a 2-part problem. Listen to me carefully. This is a 2-part problem.
What age does he retire?
He's going to retire at 52. So listen to me carefully now. The biggest thing you need to know is how much money does he need the day he turns 52 years old?
1,440,000.
How did you get that?
I forgot. No,
I was in an ad the other day on the
it's,
TV.
Are you making up numbers just to
No,
screw
no,
with
no,
me?
no. He needs 40 years,
Good.
12 months a year.
Okay, he's going to want 40 years worth of payments, right? So N is going to be 40 years of payments, but it's per month.
Yeah.
So he wants 12 times a year. He needs 480 payments of $3,000 when he retires. You see what I'm saying so far? Now, you remember, whatever this number is that we calculate, it's going to be several $100,000. He's only going to pull out $3,000 a month. And the rest of it's still going to be cooking there making interest. Okay?
Cooking
Yeah,
on low
Where,
interest.
depends on where he's got it.
where does the 40 come from?
He's 52 now. He's going to live till, I'm sorry,
Oh,
he's
I
going
see.
to
Okay,
retire at
he's gonna
52,
live- okay,
and he's going to be
live till
retired
he's
for 40
90.
years.
Okay.
But
Let's
you
just-
can't live in a nursing home today at $3,000 a month.
I'm going to tell you about the rest of Billy Bob's plans when we get the damn number figured out, okay? What's the interest rate we're going to use in these calculations?
9%?
This is where you have to read careful. The problem wanted you to take it down to a monthly basis. So we've got to convert all the calculations to a monthly basis. So his interest rate, IY, is going to be 9 divided by 12 equals. Okay? You see why I did that? This is now a monthly based problem because he wants monthly checks. We doing okay so far?
Yeah, I got you.
What am I missing so far? What do we know?
The present value order of future value.
No, we know he wants a payment to himself of $3,000.
40.
What do we need to calculate? We need to calculate how much money he has to have at that time. In that present moment, how much money does he have to be able to pull out these payments? We want to calculate the present value. So if you would, let me know that number.
So we'll start with like 40 times 12
You
equal
know,
480, which is
I don't like
N,
You
IY,
say 9 divided by 12
12.
equals IY.
and then PT.
3,000 negative 3,000 is PMT.
And then that'll give us.
Calculate present value. Good.
Is that a negative present value?
No, that's my apostrophe, it means calculate.
So it's 388,922.71.
I agree.
He needs to have $388,992 the day he turns 52 years old.
In
You
order
would-
for him to have money for the next 40 years.
Yeah, for the next 40 years, he will draw out $3,000 a month. But remember, when he draws out $3,000, the rest of it's still earning interest. Okay? So don't go out there and tell me, oh, he needs $3,000 a month times 480 months. No, he doesn't. Because this is still earning interest. Okay, are we okay so far?
Oh, no.
This is what he needs the day he turns 52, because he's got 40 years in front of him. Does it help if I say it that way? This is how much money he needs in the bank the day he turns 52, so he can be drawing for that for the next 40 years, from 52 to 92 years old.
In the calculator,
You
do
get
we
no
do
buy signs,
9 or do we do 9% divided by 12?
No, you do 9 divided by
Just
12.
9.
You've got to take him into the point in the future. Billy Bob, you say you want $3,000 a month and you think you're going to live for another 40 years. How much money are you going to have in the bank to take $3,000 out every time? Well, we know he needs 480 payments in, because that's how many 40 years are, 40 times 12. We know the interest rate has got to be put on a monthly basis. The annual rate is 9, so we say 9 divided by 12 for the monthly basis. We know he wants a payment to himself of $3,000. And we ask how much must he have in order to make that possible? What present value at that time must he have? Make sure your notes are correct, just in case you still don't believe me or can't quite put it all together yet, because with a couple of times of practice it gets easier, because we're going to do the second part of this problem. We're not done. Billy Bob, remember how old is he? He's 24 years old. Say, look, Billy Bob, this is what you're going to need when you turn 52. Let me tell you what you got to do in order to get there, starting today. Today you're 24, and you have until you turn 52. How many years is that?
26.
How many?
26. Oh, wait.
28.
Damn public school math's going to kill you, that's right. You have 28 years to save up this much money. You hear me? You have 28 years to build this much money so you can retire on it. Okay,
You
so
have about 5 patents.
What's your interest
I'm
rate?
working on that. Now what that means is N is 28 years, but remember, what are we doing? We're putting everything on a monthly basis. He's going to make a contribution to his retirement every month. So what's 28 times 12?
336.
336. Everybody see where I got N? He has from age 24 to age 52, 28 years.
38.
Huh?
Yeah. That's it.
Making so much payment per month. What else do we know? We know his interest rate. We're going to keep that constant, keep it simple.
9%.
9 divided by 12 equals, that's his interest rate.
You know the future value.
Ah, why didn't you call it a future value?
Because that's how much he has when he is 52.
He's 24 now, that's how much he needs then.
Needs to save by the time.
So his future value is that same number we just calculated. 388, 922, and I'm just going to leave the pennies off. But this is important. This present value becomes the future value.
It's almost like a reverse annuity, sort of, because you're making payments into a future value.
He's making payments into something that at some point in the future he's going to take money out of. Exactly right. Like a normal annuity. And what do we want to calculate?
Payment?
How much payment per month does Billy Bob need to start doing?
$257.85.
How many?
$257.85.
$257.85. Anybody else confirm that? Does that sound real bad?
No.
If you start at 24 And if you could get 9%, that probably wouldn't happen, but you could
Right.
probably get not too far from it over the long run.
500,000
Hmm?
into your savings or in a CD to get 9%.
Well, at today, but look at the historical return on investing in stocks. You're running 8%. This isn't unrealistic. Okay, you with me so far? If this was, over a long period of time, which it is, and if over on the average he was making 8%, this is an approximation. How bad is it for you to put $260 a month aside now, Billy Bob? And if he was reasonably intelligent and prudent, he'd find a way. I'd just start another meth lab over on the side. Or
But the name
whatever.
Billy Bob, I'm not sure.
Whatever. I'll just strap a few more illegal alligators. Whatever it takes.
What was the simple payment?
I'm sorry?
85.
$257.85.
You do know that Billy Bob owns a barbecue place on University Ave.
Oh, and I've never heard of
It's
it.
called
Okay.
Billy Bob's Barbecue.
Well, God bless you.
So he's doing quite
Is that
well.
on Waldo or is it on, where's that?
University.
University of what?
University in 13th.
Let me ask you
I
something.
didn't even know that.
It just opened up a few
Let
weeks
me
ago.
ask you something. I want you to do a comparison for me. If Billy Bob procrastinates and doesn't start on this program until he's 35 years old, what'll happen to the amount he's got to pay every month?
Increase.
How much will it go up?
35.
Yeah, if he waits until he's 35. So this becomes 35 to 52, which is 17. And so our new calculation is
A little less than double.
17 times 12, what is that?
Oh, what? Hold on a second.
204. Thank you. That becomes 204. This is the same. This is the same. Tell me his new payment.
800.
How many? How many? Say that again louder with an amen.
$812.08.
$812.08.
Amen.
Amen.
It's like the Florida prepaid program.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. It's
I
like
would
any,
have
it's
started
like
when my daughter was 10, I'd have to pay $800 a month to pay for her college.
my grandson is 5 and I'm paying $97 a month.
Like $600
Hold
a
on,
month.
let's see.
That's
I'm
600 bucks a month at my age. That's if I retire at 52.
Well,
which is-
52 is very optimistic,
Oh,
but
yeah.
think about it.
I don't wanna
Look
retire
what the
till I'm
cost is. Here's my point. What's the cost of saying, oh, I can't afford that, I'll do it later when I can afford it?
a lot.
A whole bunch.
So
A whole
But
bunch.
at 24, it's really hard to
30.
save $200 or $356.
I think it depends on what you're doing, but I also think it depends largely on your lifestyle.
interesting.
My lifestyle was pretty boring. I'd never save more than $100 a month.
How many free hours did you have every week?
Not many with a baby.
Well, see, there's your cost of that baby.
Daycare, ate it up.
Well, what I see with a lot of single people particularly is if they finish college and they're 24, 25 years old, they immediately, if they get a decent job, they get a job paying $45,000, $50,000 a year, they suddenly think they're on top of the world and they're spending every damn dime of it. And the next thing you know, they're 35 or 40 years old, they haven't got a damn dime in the bank, and this is what's happened to their cost of retirement.
Right.
Now, there's a term for that in economics. What?
Immaturity.
Stupid.
Immature.
No, stupid. Ignorant means you didn't know any better. Stupid means you knew better and decided to ignore reality. For you now, you know better. If you do that, it is stupid.
Yeah, the worst thing I've seen people do is borrow as much as they could on their home.
Mhm.
And that's why there's so many foreclosures today,
Sure,
because their house isn't worth half of what they borrowed.
they're upside down.